Hi, my name is Brandon Diswinkowski, and I am joined with Christina Torres. And today we are just getting a little bit more about the way that she's changing ABA and her story. Christina, if you feel like taking it away and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Of course. First, I'm so excited to be here and share my story. And really, I'm so excited for the future of ABA. So, a little bit about me. My name is Christina Torres. I'm a board certified behavioral analyst. I'm licensed here in Connecticut, and I've been working with the autism population since 2015. And I've had the privilege to work in probably most of the environments that a BCBA or a therapist would be able to work in. So, I actually started my career working with adolescents as a community mentor and a life skills coach. So I was in the home, and I also took them out in the community, and we did outings and brought them all together to form our own little community. I loved what I did, but I was like looking for something more fulfilling, and I wanted a challenge. So then I started part-time as a direct care staff at a nonprofit working with autistic males that were in the foster care system in DCF. So they're actually transitioning out of the system into independent living. So there we are helping them, make that transition, but also teaching them how to live on their own, like manage their money, all the life skills, creating little meals, keeping up with their laundry, all these little tasks and stuff. And then I started working in the school system, and that's when I really got into ABA, and that's where I fell in love. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? I felt like a superhero. This is amazing. Like, how did I not hear about this? So then that's when I realized, like, I found my passion. Like, it didn't feel like I was going to work every day. I loved going to work, and I really saw the impact that we did with our learners. So then I really delved deep into ABA, and then I realized, oh, there's home settings. So then I went into the home, and then I found out you could go into clinics. So, and then I was like, I want more. Like, how do you move up on the hierarchy in ABA? And they were like, well, you got to go become a BCBA and you got to get your master's. So as soon as I found that out, I went home, found the next ABA program in person, and I literally signed up and I started that August. So I was going to school full time. I worked full time, and then I did part time in the community in the clinic setting, and then I eventually transitioned from the school to the clinic. And then every different organization has, like, you're either in the school, you're in the clinic, or you kind of like you finagle all three. So I made sure to dive deep into all the different environments that you can work in this field to really like get a really good picture of all ABA in different environments, but also with different populations. And then I was doing consulting for some. And then I had my daughter. So I am 32. I went the career route. I wanted to like make sure I was established first before I started my family. And then my daughter decided to come at 25 weeks. So that was a surprise. And during that time, we spent almost 4 months in a NICU. And then I realized I couldn't see myself going back to work, having to work full time. And I just decided, I'm like, okay, I need to be a present parent, but I still wanted to help as many people as I can. So that's when I created my platform of ABA Made Easy. And my whole thing is like, I realized that there's such a lack of resources that are easy to understand, but also able to generalize across teachers, parents, paras, other providers, other educational experts, really explaining like autism, but also explaining ABA principles. Because I feel like there's a really lack of what is ABA? Like, what is ABA? ABA is everywhere. We apply ABA every day, and no one really understands it because we're stuck in this little like autism umbrella. And that's where I'm like, okay, we need to expand outside, because ABA could really impact so many people if they have the resources to really understand how behavior works and how it's influenced by our environment. So that's why I created my place. And I also want to encourage new BCBAs to know that, it is possible, because this field is very overwhelming. It's easy to get burnt out quick. There's such a high need for BCBAs. Even if you want to stay in the clinic, you can open up your own little consulting practice. You could do a little clinic yourself. But I think it's important for us to expand what ABA is outside of the autism community, because there's so much that we can really dabble in to help as many people as we can.
100%. And I think there is a huge part of our clinicians and our ideals that are stuck in just the autism umbrella. But as you said, and as a good portion of us know, ABA is everywhere and you can apply it to anything. I mean, without calling it ABA, like dog training is ABA. You could use it to learn how to play an instrument. You could make a sandwich.
Manage your money.
You can manage your money. We use it in OBM all the time. So I know that we kind of spoke about like the different things that you can do with ABA and how it applies to everywhere. But one of the biggest questions I have for you is like, why is it so important to make so many accessible resources for all those around?
I think it's so important because I really want to target the school system, because these children are in school for 6.5 hours a day, 5 days a week. So they don't have the parents' guidance to help them navigate through their environment. As a one-to-one who's seen like, oh, transitions are very difficult, like the flexibility, there's so many, especially if they have sensory issues, there's so much loud noises that, there's everything's in the environment. So it's like, hey, if I can provide resources for you to actually understand their point of view outside of ours, because a lot of times people only picture our point of view because that's all we know. So it's just like, I kind of want to open their mind to know like, hey, this is the perspective of the learner. Because, they say once you've met one person with autism, you've only met one person with autism. And I've had the opportunity to work with so many people with autism. So I'm taking every bit of what I've learned from them to kind of like help broaden people's perspectives to really understand where they're coming from. Like, hey, oh, she's covering her ears because, and explaining and also advocating and explaining to their peers, like, oh yeah, when she does this, it means that it's too loud and sometimes it hurts her, and just simple gestures like that makes an impact in the environment. And I seen like the kids advocate for her, you know what I mean? So it's like these little things, I just want to really bring awareness and acceptance and like neuroaffirming, just like kind of keep this in mind next time you see this type of stuff in your environment.
Yeah, and it's so important that you do advocate not just for the neurotypical, but for non as well. Like you said it pretty perfectly, like having others advocate while they see a student struggling, but also bringing awareness in a way that it makes it generalized and it's easy to understand. And the teachers don't have to hear all of these like ABA heavy jargon terms. And they're like, I don't know what that means. What, like, I don't understand.
Exactly. That's why I labeled my business ABA Made Easy with an E and a Z, because we're getting straight to the point. And I'm going to provide multiple examples because, also too, we like choices. So it's like, hey, here's this choice, here's this choice, here's 3 different examples, at least 3. I always give at least 3 different examples of the concept I'm forming because I need to create this image in your mind, because this concept might, resonate better with you than this one. So it's like, hey, let's throw a couple in there so you could kind of really get the better picture.
One thing I know we talked about last time, as you were kind of on your journey to get to your business platform, is the burnout that comes with this field. Would you mind talking about that now, of just like how it feels to be burnt out and that it does happen?
Oh my God, it absolutely happens. And you know what it is in this field? I think in any human service field, all we want to do is help, right? We want to solve everyone's problems. And once you become a BCBA, like the shift from the therapist to BCBA, it's night and day, okay? You go from working from one client for 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it is, to having to manage 6 different clients, 6 different therapists, emails, all this indirect time, traveling here, traveling there, all within the same 6 hours that you would have been doing one-to-one. So it's like the OBM part is so important, the time management. There's so many different variables that you have to really consider, but also being new in the field, you're just so eager to learn more, but you don't realize how full your plate is. And you're like, oh, let me do this. And next thing you know, you got 4 FBAs, 1 ecological assessment. You got an emergency over here. Your boss tore his ACL. You got to cover his consulting. And it's like, and then it's like, work-life balance. It's so hard for us to forget, like we're entitled to have a life too, because like I said, there's always something on the priority list. And every day there's something added, and something that was high priority today might be this down here because guess what? Another priority came to the top of the list. So when it comes to being burnt out, it's so important to really manage and delegate tasks if you can, Because like I said, it's so easy to have this list 100 miles long and all you're going to think about is work, 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 work. And then it affects your relationships at home. You know what I mean? Because now it's integrating inside to your personal life. It's a hard, I mean, any job is hard, but being burnt out in this field, especially when you're providing services and guidance and like, especially with the population that we work with, you really have to be on top of it because it's very hard to manage.
Yeah, and I always tell people too, with this field, it's a lot different. So if you're in like a desk job or some field like that, like when you get burnt out or you're frustrated, you turn off the screen, you walk away from your desk, turn off the computer. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You can't just press the mute button on a learner having a tantrum and be like, yeah, let me take a 5, like let me go take my lunch now. It doesn't really end until it ends, and even when it does, it doesn't really end. So having that mindset of like, I need to check out, and these are the things that I'm going to force myself to check out for. It's so important, whether it's managing it through timers, through, I know certain phones, you could set timers, or you could do like airplane mode, or you could do away messages. All those things are so important to be able to set those boundaries and those standards that like, hey, I provide excellent service, but I do it hours of this and this. Anything after that, it becomes the next day priority. And
Yes.
I'm still going to provide that excellent service, but at 8 a.m., I'll do it.
And that's another thing, time management, because there's so much indirect work. And you don't realize how time consuming it is until you're sitting doing an assessment and it's taking you 4 hours. And you're like, oh my God, it's been 4 hours. And now it's like, oh, I was supposed to do something else. It's like, if you have a 40-hour week, as soon as you sit down and start working, that's when you start your time. And I would, if you have like the typical 8-hour shifts, 8 hours a day, boom, boom, boom. Because if you're trying to knock out something, now you're adding all this indirect time that you're actually made your 40 hours a week 52, because you're trying to take off a task for tomorrow, but now you're adding a task to your actual week. So it's like, stop doing that.
So one of the things that I find so interesting is like your passion for helping people. And I wanted to ask you, like, what is your importance to like teaching or mentoring other people into the advocation or the implementation of like this generalized ABA?
I just really feel that I have a really good way of breaking down concepts and like really connecting with whoever I'm speaking with, because there's a lot of important skills when it comes to communicating with people. You have to be like an active listener. You always want to approach someone in a way that's going to be relatable to them, right? You're going to match their vibe, their energy, but also explain things in a way that they're going to understand. Because like you said earlier, ABA has a lot of jargony words and differential reinforcement or punishment. Like these regular terms are like scientific based, but in the general population, if you hear the word punishment, a parent's going to be like, no one's punishing my kid. And it's like, we're actually trying to decrease the behavior in the future. So it's really take us, like, you see what I mean?
It was more so just like the importance of like mentoring
Advocating.
people. Yeah, and advocating. Why is it so important that needs to be done? And what part of like mentorship or like teaching others kind of like happened to make you love it so much?
Yeah, I think my favorite thing is really giving the perspective of somebody else. It's like being a fly in the room. Like as behavioral analysts, we analyze the environment and we take in everything. We understand the function of behaviors and all that. So as a mentor, it's like, let me be that fly in the wall to really give you a bigger picture outside of the one that you only see, and really give them an idea of how their behavior actually is not what they think it is, and actually might be reinforcing something, when in reality, they could actually be doing better by changing a little simple behavior or seeing something in a different lens to really help them have a better life. Like, you know what I mean? Or not much better life, but like a better perspective on life so that they learn how to navigate it effectively, that it's going to be able to benefit them in the future.
I feel like I want to get that tattooed on me. Just that full sentence.
Isn't it a good quote?
It's amazing.
It's like, let me help you.
Right. That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
Let me help you.
So that was like the analytical term, and then this is like the, made easy term.
Yeah. I feel like you should get like little like fridge magnets. Let me help you.
Yeah, literally.
Stick them
Little
everywhere.
bumper sticker.
Yeah, I would put one on.
I'm gonna have to put it on my website. I'll give you a share.
No, please. In your platform, where do you see you going next? Like, what is the future for ABA Made Easy?
Oh my God, I love this question. Okay, when I started this platform, I know that I'm gonna do another avenue because we have to start somewhere, right? We know that ABA needs to shift. It
Yeah,
needs to be expanded. Someone's got to do it. So I'm in the process of opening up my own consulting business. I haven't officially launched yet because it takes time. I'm finishing on my website. I'm getting my office ready little by little. I just put these
I,
frames up right
I
before
was just gonna
you
say, I
saw.
saw the furniture.
I just posted my video on my TikTok and my Instagram. But
I
what I'm doing, I'm sharing my journey with others because I'm modeling that you can do this. Okay, if I can do it, you can do it. And if you need help, reach out because I love networking and help bringing other people like up. You need help? I did it. Let me help and explain what I did, what you need to do, the TA to get to where I'm at because you can accomplish this too. Especially when you're passionate. I'm so passionate. Like I said, my whole goal is just to make people's lives easier in a way that is like so low effort, high reinforcement. That is my motto. Low effort, high reinforcement. Okay. But where I see this thing going, because I'm offering a mentorship program for new BCBAs, because I want to share my journey as a new BCBA and I want them to be prepared for what their future holds this first year of becoming a BCBA. And it's like, hey, let me share my contingencies so that when you do reach this contingency, because most likely you will, at least you have something to reflect on, like, oh, Christina said this was going to happen, now it's happening. Oh, let me move this way. You see what I mean? Instead of being a deer stuck in a headlight. But also, one of my programs is explaining like all the different environments that I worked in, but one of them is BCBA to CEO because I really feel making this transition is so empowering, but also knowing that I can still do something that I love. And I'm actually all I'm focusing on is myself and my business and my family because I'm in control of balancing what day I'm going to do this or how long I'm going to do it. And it's all about just self-control, shaping to getting to where you want to be. So eventually I would just want to create a platform, which is what I'm doing now, but extend it into like a mentorship thing, but also like a platform where other behaviors and SLPs and OTs and PTs that are interested in expanding and going independent, we have a whole behavioral network and we all create our own little community of the same people going through the same thing, but also, hey, I know someone, I know someone, I know someone.
and I
Because it's
think
all about who you know.
the thing about the network is like you have an issue. I don't know how to handle it per se, but I know someone. I know someone who can.
Yeah.
I think that is what makes people so comfortable about reaching out. Is like, people are so nervous about reaching out to somebody and then like getting rejected or feeling like they're not going to get the answer. But I kind of do the same thing where like I make sure at the end of that conversation, I'm willing to say, hey, I know someone who can actually help with this. I don't know her per se, but I know someone. I know Christina. She can get you there.
Yeah. See, and then like my whole slogan too is like knowledge, guidance, and support. That's what you're gonna get when you come to ABA Made Easy. So it's like, hey, you need some knowledge, you need a little guidance. I got you. You need some support? Here it is. You know what I mean?
I love it. It's definitely it's in the personality. That's what it is.
Yeah, the personality is key too.
What is the message that you want to spread or that you want other people to be aware of from your own perspective?
I really just want them to be aware. And I remember I was saying too, is like once a parent receives an autism diagnosis, the way it's hard to deal with because of what we've been conditioned to hear about autism, right? Autism, all you see in autism is like behavioral issues, like high support needs, but it's not the case for every learner that's diagnosed with autism. Autism is a spectrum. It's not linear. There's more of this, there's more of this, maybe this, less of this, maybe it's just a little bit of this. So it's like, I really want to push that you need to be really optimistic and open to the future and not limit them or expect less of them. With the right support and consistency and guidance, they could be thriving. And it's like, don't limit them, like give them the opportunity to show you what they're capable of. And we have to just find the way the learner learns and then teach them all the skills that they need to be successful.
Yeah.
So that's really my message. It's like, hey, yeah, this is it. This is what it looks like. And here's how we can help them succeed and navigate their natural environment. Because like I said, remember they're in the school full time until they're 18 to 21 years old. And who's guiding them? Right? And it's like, we have to be the ones in their environment to help them succeed and help shape their behaviors so that they know how to navigate these contingencies, so they could work on their flexibility, so they could tolerate no. You know what I mean? So that's really what I want to do.
I love your message. I love your personality. I love your attitude. I love your mission. So again, like I wanted to get you on here. I wanted to spread awareness about you, about your platform. Thank you so much.